Well, it's good evening from me and another quick update on Vulcan Energy resources. Some great news that was put out recently. We've got the plant up and running. First, it was lithium chloride earlier in the year, and now we've got the lithium hydroxide plant up and running, at least to a demonstration level. The inauguration of that, I think, is an excellent milestone. Uh, the distance this company has come since it started a number of years ago, I mean, let's look at the history. It is something to be really applauded. Uh, it's been a long journey. The whole process, it was under doubt, the geothermal aspect, the zero carbon aspect. So hence we've got another milestone. Now, in discussions with some colleagues, perhaps the share price reaction to this inauguration was not as strong as may have been expected. There can be a few reasons for that, and again, short term, we just don't know. I've said this in the past that it's great, and I would expect a catalyst and a jump in the share price when you get some great news like this. But you just don't know what the market participants are doing. However, let's just go through a few things that we should look forward to. The first thing is just to unpack a few items. I mean, one is the date. Now, this didn't come into the main announcement, but the inauguration or completion of the whole project has been pushed back to 2027. Now, I'm pretty sure if you look back at a number of my discussions, previously 2026 was the sort of date that Vulcan was touting, but I know how these things go, and I've sort of said, look, 26, 27, I've always had that expectation. So that was no real surprise to me. The other piece of news is that the finance is taking a little longer than expected, and you would expect that at approximately 1.9 billion required, and touted for maybe Q1 next year. Sort of end of Q1 next year, even early Q2, I think would be a great milestone to have all of the finance lined up. If I remember correctly, we are still waiting for an announcement from the Critical Resource and Mineral Act that Vulcan's project is a priority project, and therefore it has priority access to financing. I think that's also to come. That probably, again, maybe the end of this year, maybe early in Q1, that announcement comes. I think that would be another step in the right direction. Also, note the key off-takers of Vulcan Energy Resources. I mean, you've got Volkswagen, you have Renault, Stellantis, and it's no secret. We've all seen in the press the challenges these companies currently have, and there's a lot of doom and gloom as well as caution about the future of the whole of the European car industry. However, as with all things, humans, we tend to be far more conservative when we're looking at negatives, and hence what that means is we get overly pessimistic as a group. It's natural. My view is, yes, there are challenges at Renault, Volkswagen and Stellantis. Who knows what will happen? Nevertheless, we know what those challenges are. The companies are trying to address them. I mean, Volkswagen, its announcement with respect to its workforce, its announcement that it's willing to take on their workers' council, a closing of factories, and some more technical things like the cooperation and adoption of a platform from Xpeng, rather than using their own or further developing their own platform for certain vehicles, certain EVs. I think that's positive. I think it's a positive move. So things like changes like that are happening. We know there's certain European policy subsidies and all of this type of thing. Nevertheless, these are big companies. They've been around for quite some time. I'm quite sure the management is aware now of the major challenges, and their government, plus the EU, I think purposely has provided some breathing space to these companies, rightly or wrongly. Um, but I think they have that time, and hence Vulcan Energy's plant coming on stream in 2027. That makes kind of sense from a strategic European perspective. It also makes sense from the general forecast and projection in the uptick EV demand for these type of cars. So I'm not too concerned about that reported shift back of production. I think because Vulcan Energy, European lithium company for the European car industry, and hence things have to be in sync. And then there are many upsides. I've mentioned these before. There Valsorbent or Valsorb sorbent technology. Um, there are announcements previously of potentially a phase two of their project, which could be just as big in future. Their assessments in France. I think there's potential in Italy. These are long way into the future, but nevertheless, if Vulcan gets it right this first time around, if we see an upswing in general in the EV industry, especially in Europe, and the major off-takers have sort of refined and aligned what they're doing, then I think the future potential will become more and more apparent. I've looked at some of the projections, the continued projections from the brokers, and the 1 year ahead share price projections, and they range anywhere between $6 Australian up to an extreme of $16, and then in the middle you've got sort of the $9 to $11 range. So my view is that I think as more information comes, as with respect to CRMA, with respect to further tests on operation, further news on that, further news on green financing, further news on equity, and that partner may be very crucial for the future as well, and obviously further news on the debt financing. I think these catalysts will continue to help us step up gradually up that Lassonde curve, and that's my current view. Let's keep watching, but I think on this occasion, congratulations to the whole team at Vulcan Energy Resources, the management, and all stakeholders. And I think it's one to watch for the future. Thank you very much.